Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Get Indie Gaming. Many thanks for popping by. With the first quarter of the year come and gone, we move into April and the best 5 looking indie games launching this month. April's a bumper month for the game launches, so whittling things down to just 5 titles was quite the challenge. So please, if you think I've missed anything here, please let me know in the comments section below. Before we tackle April's top 5, we'll stick with tradition and take a brief look at April's list of honourable mentions. Set in the 1970s automobile world, The Low Road is a point-and-click graphic adventure which follows a team of corporate spies dedicated to the protection of and appropriation of game-changing industry secrets. Already released on the PlayStation 4 to critical acclaim, everything makes its way onto the PC on April 21st. And in the words of Polygon in the 9 out of 10 review, it's a brave, bizarre, compelling and beautiful offering. With A Gummy's Life, we have a local co-op game that allows up to 16 players to take on the role of sweet treats that have come to life. In perhaps a surprise to many, Yooka-Laylee just falls short of making this month's top 5. Here we have a beautiful looking platformer very much in the spirit of Banjo-Kazooie, out on the usual platforms April 11th. And with that, we're all done with the honourable mentions, so let's go straight into April's top 5 best looking indie games out this month. From Thomas Brush, the creator of Skinny and Coma, Pinstripe takes the number 5 slot for April. Nearly 4,000 backers kickstarted this to the tune of a little over $100,000 a year or so ago, and it lands with us on the PC this April 25th. Pinstripe offers an interesting premise. Aside from the voice acting, the entire game was created by Thomas alone, and it's set to deliver a chillingly somber and darkly comical story, all set within an underground realm of strange creatures, characters, lost secrets, and captivating beauty. With the artwork giving a nod to the likes of Nightmare Before Christmas and Alice in Wonderland, this puzzle-based platformer looks something uniquely wonderful that's hopefully as much a joy to play as it is to look at. Sliding into the number 4 slot, the sexy Brutale is a sinister-looking mansion which doubles as a private casino. It's run by an eccentric aristocrat called the Marquis, who uses this British Moulin Rouge to throw lavish parties for his friends and peers. We join the game where one of these parties has all gone a bit wrong. Guests are trapped within a 12-hour time loop in which they are repeatedly killed according to a never-changing timeline by the murderous mansion's staff. You play as a Catholic priest and the only person able to maintain memories from one day to the next, and it's your role to find out what's causing the loop and to escape it by saving each guest in turn from their assigned death. According to the developer, the game was inspired by immersive theatre productions such as those put on by the likes of Punch Drunk, and a series of Japanese games that deal with time loops and characters working within schedules, such as Zelda's Majora's Mask, the Gregory Horror Show and Moon Remix. Now, I'm a huge fan of the visuals here and the isometric nature of the gameplay, and I will certainly be picking this up when it launches on consoles and PC on April the 11th. In what remains of Edith Finch from the developers at Giant Sparrow, who also made the somewhat trippy BAFTA award-winning The Unfinished Swan, you'll go on an adventure in your own home within a collection of short stories about a cursed family in Washington state. Set in present day, young Edith Finch returns to her family home after some time away at college. During her time back in the house, she finds herself alone in the home and takes the opportunity to nose around to find details about the ordinary, yet troubled lives of her parents, siblings, and even her ancestors from all the way back in the 1800s. On this strange and deeply personal journey through 13 different stories, she'll uncover clues and secret passages and learn about the ties that bind a family across generations, and also how she has come to fit into the family's lasting legacy. The gameplay and tone of the stories are as varied as the family members themselves, and although the underlying nature of the game is on the dark side of things, the game promises no jump scares or other silliness, only what the dev team have called an ominous vibe that comes from with exploring an abandoned home all by yourself. What Remains of Edith Finch is scheduled for release on April 25th and will be out on the PlayStation 4 and PC. Next up in the number 2 slot for April, we have one of the most anticipated indie games of the year. In Little Nightmares, launching on a PC, PlayStation 4 and X1 this coming April 25th, we have a creepy-looking, monster-filled puzzle platformer. The game follows a girl in an oversized, bulky yellow hood called Six, as she looks for a way out of a place known only as the Moor. Compared to the world around her, Six is tiny. She is, however, fleet of foot and highly agile, being able to climb and scramble over objects with relative ease. By the looks of things, with so many obstacles and monstrous-looking inhabitants of the moor, Six will have her work cut out if she's ever going to be able to escape. While undoubtedly making for uncomfortable subject matter, the game's eerie aesthetics and lighting are compelling and wouldn't feel out of place within a work from the likes of Tim Burton. The devs have also been at pains to suggest they haven't sought to create a dark version of Little Big Planet, which again is something that springs to mind with relative ease. I'm quietly optimistic on the game's outcome and will be looking forward to playing this later in the month. And taking the number 1 slot for April, we have Blackwood Crossing, the debut title from the Brighton-based team at Paper 7. In keeping with the likes of Edith Finch, here we have a narrative-driven first-person adventure that, as the time this video comes to air, has already launched on the PlayStation 4, X1 and the PC. Blackwood Crossing takes aim and tackles the transition between late childhood and early adulthood, a time when the early teenage magic starts to merge with the grey pales of early adulthood. You play as Scarlett, a 14-year-old girl accompanying her younger brother Finn on a decidedly old-school British rail slam-door type of train journey. Both the main characters are exquisitely presented in stylings that wouldn't be amiss within one of the more recent Disney offerings, from Scarlett's cracked black nail varnish to her well-worn Converse and her Peter Pan collar. Likewise, Finn's shifting facial expressions and body movements are instantly recognisable to any parent, particularly his innocence and vulnerability, which come across in spades. A real credit to the animation skill and observation talent of the team at work here. Credit also must go to the musical score, which again is a triumph, with it adding depth and mood in an almost perfect measure. Aside from the look and overall feel, the real winner here is the narrative, which flows organically throughout the game. While at times light and airy with elements of the surreal, things get somewhat darker and more chaotic as the game progresses. So in truth, I'm smitten by this title, the characters and overall narrative. It's a wonderful achievement from Paper 7, and for me the game sits up there on a par with the other heavy hitters in this genre, such as Firewatch, Gone to the Rapture, and the Stanley Parable. Yes, it's that good. With Blackwood Crossing leading the field this April, that about wraps things up today on Get Indie Gaming. It's been a pleasure to have you here, and if you have any thoughts, suggestions or ideas for the channel, or games you feel were worth a mention in this video, please let me know in the comments section below. I'll be back later this month with my regular indie game Kickstarter showcase, and also with a few other videos which hopefully will include the first episode in a new monthly series. With all that in mind, many thanks once again for popping by, and please come back soon for more videos.